in a world flooded with hot garbage levels. Mouthful level names, crushing defeats, and depressed avatars, who will be there to rise up against it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cygnus EXE. Today we're going to be going over the top 5 ways to get better at multiplayer versus in Mario Maker 2. But before we get into that, let's look at the featured comment for last week's video. Yeah, okay. So, before we get into the list, make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment. You're definitely going to want to leave one after I announce something at the end of this video. But that's more than enough talking, so let's get into the list. Starting with number 5, learn when to grab power-ups. Now, don't get me wrong, power-ups are super helpful in multiplayer versus. They can help you push ahead of your opponents and gain a major advantage. However, not every time is the right time to grab a power-up. Sometimes you can gauge whether a level is going to be easy enough so that you can beat it without a power-up and leave your opponents in the dust while they scramble over one question mark block. Here's an example of not planning power-up collection properly. As you can see, because I went for a power-up, I couldn't see the ground beneath me in time, and instead, I hit the lava. Now, I'm not saying that power-ups are the worst thing ever. They're really not. They're super helpful and can help you get ahead in some situations, but there's definitely a time and a place where you want to avoid scrambling with the other 3 players, and if you can dash ahead and beat all of them to the goal. It's all about weighing the pros and cons of collecting a power-up. If you do get the power-up, you can have a useful tool against enemies or a boss fight, but if you don't get the power-up, you could get a substantial boost against your other 3 competitors. And that brings us to number 4, play dirty. As many of you may or may not know, you can use the Y and trigger buttons to throw your opponents in every game style but the original Super Mario Bros. This can lead to some fun results, like throwing them into lava, throwing them into poison, throwing them into spikes, throwing them to an enemy, throwing them into a gap. The possibilities are endless. After all, what better way is there to pull ahead of your opponents than to throw them off the course entirely? However, this does come with some risks, which brings us to our third point: don't play dirty. In some occasions, it is good to mess with your opponents a little during the race, but this can have some negative effects on your own success. So, it's better to just take a back seat and progress through the level normally instead of aggressively fighting your opponents. After all, these are human players, so you could get some payback later on. Now let's move on to our second to last way to get better at multiplayer versus: be quick. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, duh, that's like the most obvious way to win ever. But that's not what I mean. I don't mean just run through the level as fast as you can. I mean, try and pull some sneaky maneuvers on your opponents to steal their victory. Let me show you an example. as you can see, I was the first one through that door, but since Mario fell off the platform that I was standing on in order to get to the goal faster, I didn't reach the end before him. That's what I mean by a sneaky maneuver. Before we get into the last way to get better at multiplayer versus, I want to make an announcement. This is what you're going to want to leave a comment for. We are going to be playing viewer levels on the channel. So make sure to drop your level codes in the comments and we will check them out the next time we make a Mario Maker video. Now, on to number 1, or number 5 if you've been following the title cards, because I've been doing them backwards. Anyway, the final tip is to have fun. Don't let the competition get to your head. This is still a game, and fun moments can still break out at any time. Like, for example, this random game of hot potato I had with a bob-omb while playing multiplayer. So anyway guys, that's gonna bring this video to an end. I hope you enjoyed the list and I hope you find it useful. I use these tips personally and look where it got me. Anyway, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.